remember thinking, I changed your life. That's crazy. I did nothing. I made you cookies and I wrecked your car.
I want to welcome you back again for another story answering the question, is God active? Today I am here with a very special guest. My wife, Jana Hyman, is going to tell us a story.
So it was very cold outside, like minus 40. The wind was just blowing and I was driving our kids, I guess, back from school, and it was, coming, so it was starting to get dark, and I could see that there was this car on the side of the road. And I remember thinking, man, it is too cold to be like stuck on the side of the road. So as I was driving by, I just looked to see who was in there, and I could see two guys huddled up like they'd probably been there for a while. The windows were all frosted, and as I was driving by, this kind of voice was like, you should check, make sure they're okay. So I flipped a U on the highway, and as soon as I did, the kids are like, what are you doing? I said, well, we're going to go back and make sure these people are okay. Well, Dad said you're not allowed to pick up hitchhikers. I said, well, we're not picking up a hitchhiker. It'll be okay. So we drove back again, and I pulled up beside them, and I rolled my window down, and I said, do you guys need help, or are you okay? And one guy in the steering wheel didn't look good at all. Like, he was really kind of hunched over, and he said, no, we ran out of gas. And so the other guy, his brother, which was in the passenger seat, he said he has diabetes and he's not doing very good. He needs some food. So I thought, okay. I said, just hang tight. We just live down the road. I'll run and get you some fuel. So I ripped home. It maybe took 5 minutes from there to get the gas, and I dropped the rest of the kids off, took my oldest son, and he grabbed this jerry can, and we threw it in the back of the car and went back and filled their tank up. And, the jerry can wasn't full, but we put the fuel in that we had. And I followed them a little way, and then they just died right away. And I thought, oh, shoot, it wasn't enough. So I pulled up. I said, just hang tight. I'll go get you some more. So we went back to the house, and this time there was no more jerry cans by the house. We had to go over by the shop. And so we're digging around, trying to find a full jerry can. And of course, there's none. And as we're digging around, you show up. And you're like, what are you guys doing? And I remember Caleb's like, Dad, there's no more fuel. We're trying to help these guys on the road, and there's just no fuel. And he's like, which jerry can? You said, which jerry can did you use? And I said, well, the red one's by the house. And he said, good. He said, there's diesel in those ones. So shoot, we just wrecked this guy's van. We're trying to help him, and we just completely wrecked his van. I was like, oh, sick. So you're like, okay, I'll run and get, the Lyndon just down the road. He lives just down the road. We'll see what he can do. He's a mechanic. He'll see how he can help us. So I thought, okay, I'll take the red jerry cans. We have a rule at our house that somehow I misunderstood, but there's yellow jerry cans were for diesel, red ones were for gas, but since you were the only ones filling them up, you had filled up a red one. So I grabbed a red one, went to get fuel, and you went to Lyndon's. So as I'm in town, I thought I better get this guy some food because he didn't look good. You went and pulled their car, got Lyndon, pulled their car back to his place, and I got the fuel and gave this guy some food. And then you dropped them off at the shelter. And when you came home and you said, they're staying at a shelter, that somehow really bothered me. Because at this time of year, it was like about December 20th, somewhere in there. And I remember thinking, shoot, these guys are in a shelter. Like, that's not nice this time of year, So I made some cookies with the kids. I thought I'm going to take it over to this shelter and just so they can have something nice for Christmas, And when I got to the shelter, I thought, I'm kind of scared. Like, it was just a bunch of guys in there, and it kind of felt really dark and unfriendly, and I felt a little unsafe, actually. So I'm in there standing in this entrance with this plate of cookies, and someone's like, can I help you? And I said, well, I'm looking for, and I think his name was either Derek or Mike. This was years ago. And I said, I'm looking for Derek. And I said, I want to give these to Derek. So he happened to be just there, and I gave him, he was just so shocked that I brought him these cookies. And so then I left, and I felt like, I'd done a good deed. And since I'd wrecked his car, it had taken you a full day with Lyndon to fix this van. But you guys got it running again. And then when I went home, it was like that wasn't enough. Christmas was coming. He was just on my mind. And that little small voice kept, kind of prodding me, and I felt like we should invite him to Christmas. And I said to you, we should invite this guy to Christmas, these two guys to Christmas. And you were kind of surprised because I like Christmas to just be our family. And so you said, absolutely. So you went and picked him up and brought him over at around 2:30 or so, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And my family was with us that year. And they were all a little, kind of awkward. Like, it was a little weird. We hadn't really done Christmas.
A little out of place.
Hadn't really done Christmas with people we didn't know before. And I was super excited, actually. And he showed up. Derek showed up. His brother didn't actually want to come for some reason, and that was fine, but Derek came and spent the entire evening with us. We played games. We had a story about, the Christ child, and it was a nice evening. We had a little prayer time and sang some songs and played games all evening, and he had a great time. And you took him home later, actually. And that was that. And, didn't hear anything about him, never really had much to do with him at all. And I remember one day I was sitting in my house, and this was about 2 years later, and I got a knock on the door, and it was late in the afternoon. There was nobody home, just me, and I opened the door, and there was this man standing at the door. And I wish you could have seen him, because he looked amazing. Like, his hair was done, he had new glasses on, he had perfect skin, he had a nice little truck, nice outfit. And I remember saying, can I help you? And he said, you probably don't remember me. I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, And he said, you had me over for Christmas 2 years ago. And I said, oh my word, yeah. Like, how are you? I said, Luke's not home, but come on in. He said, no. He said, I don't want to bother you. He said, I just needed to come by, he said, and tell you that you changed my life. And I remember thinking, I changed your life. That's crazy. I did nothing. I made you cookies, and I wrecked your car. And, but he said, no, you changed my life. He said, you went out of your way to help me. And he said, and you and your family showed me something else that I could have, something different than what I did have. He said, I was an alcoholic. I lost my job. I lost my house. I lost my wife. I lost my daughter. I had lost everything. He said, but when I came and you brought me into your home and you showed me what I could have, he said, I needed something different. And he said, I just needed you to know that you changed my life. He said, I have my job. I have my daughter. I have a car. He said, I have a life now because you took a moment. And it just blew my mind, because I knew God had done something for him that I could never have done on my own.
Man, I remember how excited you were that day you told me about that.
It was pretty neat, yeah.
There's a text in the Bible, and it comes out of John chapter 8. John chapter 8 and verse 12. This is what the Bible says. Jesus spoke to the people once more and said, I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't have to walk in darkness, because you will have the light that leads to life. Friends, today, as you heard Jana tell this story, and I got to relive it, about Derek and his brother, and how they were down and out. But then there was this opportunity to see something different. This is exactly what this book is all about. It's trying to show us the light that you and I can have. So no matter where you are, as we're in this Christmas season, and you're reflecting on your life and you're looking at things, you may look and say, man, I've had a lot of loss. I'm missing this, I'm missing that. Family, homes, whatever the challenges you might be in. Or maybe you've got a lot going on and you need to reach out and share a little light. I want you to know that there is so much more that we can have and also give. So this Christmas, this holiday season, don't just spend it on yourself. If you've got something and you've got some light, share it with somebody. And if you don't have any light, I want you to know it's there for you. Turn to the Lord. He can help you. And then we want to invite you back next week as we continue answering the question, is God active? Thanks for watching today. If you have challenges in your life or worried about your future, I want to invite you to take time to pray. Well, what does that really look like? It's as simple as talking to a friend. And who of us don't have friends that we like to talk to? God cares about the things you're facing in your life right now. Take them to Him. Remember, we're also praying for you. See you next week.